why do bad things happen to good people? And why does it seem as though good things happen to bad people? Why does it seem as though the worst individuals in society seem to be the individuals that continue to progress? Well, a truth that you're going to have to come to, especially in the realm of metaphysics, because spirituality without the ability to control your reality is vanity. There seems to be this spiritual consensus, this delusion that the universe rewards righteous individuals. But I need you to understand one thing, and that is the universe rewards the right mental, emotional, energetic equivalent, the energetic state of consciousness or whatever it is that you seek to create in reality. Nothing more, nothing less. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you why the worst people seem to manifest and create their desired reality so easily, and why karma doesn't exist. Because I know in the spiritual community, there seems to be this deluded infancy of the universe is love and light. But if we take an honest look around our circumstances, the way we grow up, the individuals we see, the best people we know continue to suffer the most. There has to come to a point where you reach a spiritual maturity in understanding that the universe isn't necessarily moral, but it's mechanical. So let's get into it. Right? Devil number one, you see the angels, even though they're second and third, they're angels, so they have to smile in it. But you know what I'm saying? Even my man's got his hands on his head, but he's still smiling.
That 3D podium is where it's at still.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And you know, we're upgrading equipment. You can see, you know what I'm saying? There's signs. There will be signs. Got some new pens. Got a new whiteboard wiper. Hey, man.
You're leveling up still.
I don't mean to flex on niggas, you know? I really don't mean to flex on niggas. It just is what it is.
Someone said, as an Indian woman, I must say Nero is so good looking.
Okay.
His personality
I don't think she put that
is
degree of
just
emphasis
wonderful
on it.
next level. Hey, just that's what she said, bro.
As a what? Wait, where's my rag? Where is my rag?
That is crazy. I don't think you had it.
Oh my God.
I don't think you had it in here, bro.
Oh my God. Oh no, it's here. Thank God. Oof, it's gonna have to start the video again. Sorry, say that again, AJ. I was distracted and in distress.
As an Indian woman, I must say Nero is so good looking.
Why as an Indian, like why does that have to be specified that as an Indian woman?
I don't know, man.
What does that have to do with anything?
I don't know. His personality is just wonderfully next level.
You guys do not know me. I could really be the worst nigga you know. You could literally meet me and I could chain you in a basement and do ungodly things to you. Like, you don't know me.
Sounds like someone that's in prison right now. Let me not say no names.
Okay. Perfect. So,
who said I love you first?
let me keep that here. So, like I said, to go back to one point, we have to come to an understanding of one thing in particular, and that is this. The universe isn't moral, it is mechanical. So, there seems to be this tendency in the spiritual community for things to be all love and light, and it's namaste, and everything's love, and everything's kindness, and everything's sweetness. But the truth of the matter is, what we conceptualize as morality is nothing more than a human construct. And the reason why I say it's a human construct is because morality in of itself is something that the universe doesn't adhere to. The universe is not moral, it is mechanical. And there's going to be a slight cognitive dissonance as I'm saying these things for your mind to try and reject this idea, because you're still deluding yourself with the conceptualization that good people get good things and bad people get bad things. And, you know, evil people, they're going to get theirs one day. But the truth of the matter is that is not the case. The universe doesn't adhere to any particular degree of morality, because in me saying the universe is mechanical, you have to understand that reality, the third dimensional realm, the world that you live in, is comprised of nothing more than frequency. Frequency is immaterialized reality. Reality is materialized frequency. Conceptualize frequency as steam. Conceptualize reality as ice. It's both the same energy. The only difference is their rate of vibration. Another way of saying frequency is our state of consciousness. Our self-concept. Our imagination. The world that you live in is nothing more than your frozen imagination. And you have to come to the conclusion of the fact that, unfortunately, the world that people live in, the realities that we begin to construct and experience, isn't dependent upon our degree of morality. You don't get spiritual brownie points for being a good person, even though you should. And believe me, if I was the individual that constructed the universe, then I would create it like that. But the truth of the matter is, you're not going to get spiritual brownie points for being a good person. Now, I want to preface everything that I'm saying before we get even deeper. Pause. I want to preface everything that I'm saying by saying, I'm not advocating for immorality. I think everybody should be a good, kind person. But don't delude yourself and think that being a good person and a kind person is going to give you the right reality. The only thing that's going to give you the right reality is the right frequency. And that's a bar, write that down. The right reality is equated to the right frequency. Nothing more, nothing less. Because the truth of the matter is, the universe doesn't reward good people. It rewards those who reward themselves by arranging their state of consciousness and frequency to be an mental, emotional equivalent to the reality that they seek to experience. That is it, quite simply. The universe doesn't adhere to a particular degree of morality. And this is evident. And this is evident for the mere fact of, look at the energies that the universe has. Electricity. Electricity doesn't only hurt good people. It doesn't, before it's about to, let's say somebody is, on an electric chair, for example. When they turn it on, it's not gonna work because someone was a good person. You get what I'm saying? Electricity in of itself is impersonal. It depends on its misuse or its correct use. Let's think about something like fire. Fire doesn't only burn bad people. Let's think about something like water. Water doesn't only drown bad people. The universe has no particular degree of morality. Gravity. If for whatever reason a baby ended up on top of a building, and forgive this morbid example, but fell off for whatever reason, the universe isn't going to pause. An angel isn't going to come out of somewhere and save that baby. That baby is going to meet the fate of the law of gravity. Why? Because the universe isn't moral, it's mechanical. It doesn't discriminate. And as it says in the Kabbalion, it's immutable. It cannot be changed. It's immutable and it is impersonal. And you have to come to the conclusion of the fact that if you begin to see the universe as a moral construct, then you get upset. Now, how many times, whether it's people that you love or even yourself, how many times have we watched the good people, our families, our mothers, our aunts, our fathers, our uncles, our aunties, whoever it is that's a good person to you, how many times have we seen these good individuals continue to perpetually suffer in the same cycles despite being absolute angels? And it's the frustration that actually ends up binding you to the reality even more, because you have to understand that emotion is a type of glue. Because emotion is energy emotion, which emits an energetic signature that we call a vibration, that emits and compounds into a frequency. That frequency is nothing more than immaterialized reality. Reality is materialized frequency. So emotion is a type of glue. And the truth of the matter is, when things should be different, but they're not, it's very easy to get frustrated. When you think to yourself, damn, like, I helped the old lady cross the road and I'm still struggling in life. Like, what the fuck is this shit? Doesn't make any fucking sense, does it? It doesn't make sense that while continuing to do good deeds, we don't experience a good reality, because it's about coming to the understanding that being a righteous person won't put you in the right reality. The only thing that's going to put you in the right reality is the right frequency. That's a bar, write that down. The only thing that's going to put you in the right reality is the right self-concept. The only thing that's going to put you in the right reality is the right state of consciousness. The only thing that's going to put you in the right reality is the right imagination. Nothing more, nothing less. And this is something that you have to come to a conclusion of. And you need to stop thinking like a human and begin to think in alignment with the universe. Now, I don't know if it was over a year ago, I did a video saying you need to be a bad person to manifest. Think about this like a continuation of that. I'll get AJ to put it up on the screen. But like I said, it is the frustration and the confusion that perpetuates you to be stuck to reality because that emotion is a glue. Any particular degree of negative emotion is going to do nothing more than solidify and stick you to that particular circumstance that you're suffering with. So if you're like, damn, I'm a good person, why am I continuously getting into these shit relationships? Fuck, it doesn't make any sense. It's all these fucking people. And then you get frustrated and upset. It's that particular negative emotion that glues you to that circumstance more. Because emotion in of itself is the only true language of the subconscious mind. An individual only has to go through a traumatic experience once for their entire mind and their perception to be completely altered and their entire reality to be distorted. Now, that exists on the negative polarity, but to the other opposite end, you can use that in a positive sense. And it's emotion, strong degrees of emotion that does nothing more than reinforce a particular condition into your subconscious mind. So you have to come to the conclusion. It's the source of our upset in life comes from our lack of awareness. Ignorance is the only disease in the universe. That's a bar, write that down. And it's our ignorance to how the universe is versus how we want it to be that leads to this perpetual frustration and us going through the same circumstances again and again and again. The universe is not moral, it is mechanical. The universe is not moral, it is mechanical. Say it with me. The universe is moral. The universe is not moral, it is mechanical. I need you to understand, like I said, this video isn't an advocation for you to be a fucking asshole. You can't walk down the street and kick a baby and think that that's okay, or do shit things to people and break people's trust and all of this and all of that. This isn't an advocation for that. This is an encouragement for you to come to the awareness that the only thing that's going to put you in the right reality is the right frequency. It doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter how kind you are. That has nothing to do with anything. That will help you on the human game, but it's not going to help you on the universe's game. And that's the true game that you need to play here.
Real? Someone said, Nero, I started watching your videos. Now I'm seeing my manifestations instantly. This stuff is real. Nero is the real deal. I've watched 45 videos out of your 70.
I've got 70 videos.
Crazy, isn't it?
Wow. I don't even know how many videos I have at this point. And he's watched how many?
45.
Wow.
Crazy. For anybody watching, keep going. It'll click.
I also want you guys to come to a realization of one thing in particular. And this isn't to take anything away from that comment, but I also want you to understand that the illusion that you're going to get a click from consuming more information is nothing more than a delay mechanism for you actually just deciding that you can have that click. We often see these light bulb moments and these clicks to be random moments that simply come upon us without coming to the recognition that this is actually a very conscious thing that you're doing. It just feels unconscious. And because it feels unconscious, you feel as if the click just happened. But no, you're the individual who in fact flicked on the light bulb. And you can only do that from coming to the realization that you actually know more than enough. Bear in mind, watch my videos, watch as many as you need. It's fine. But I don't want to also encourage this unnecessary degree of overconsumption for information, because that does nothing more than reinforce a lack of conviction in what you do know, which makes it very difficult for you to actually capitalize on what you do know. You can know a very tiny amount of information in this realm, but if you have conviction that that is enough and you are enough, that will then turn the 5 loaves into 5,000. Or you could be like me and read hundreds of books for years and still feel like you don't know nothing, and then end up diminishing the conviction that you do have, which then makes it difficult to capitalize that conviction and actually activate that knowledge.
Who is AJ? I'm new.
What?
The Wizard of Oz.
What? Someone said, who's AJ?
Yeah.
He's the Wizard of Oz.
That's crazy. New people just wouldn't know who I am.
I got an earpiece in my ear. I'm not even the one that's saying this information is AJ. We're like a ventriloquist. Actually, pause. I think a ventriloquist has his hand up the like puppet's ass or some shit. Yeah.
You've been on some weird stuff this morning, man.
Okay. Let's not say stuff like that. That's crazy.
They don't even want to know what you've been up to.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I was the one who said I love you first.
It was about 8 years ago. Don't act like you don't know. We're sitting home in your mama's living room, cause we couldn't be alone. See, your mama knew something else.
You know how I feel.
Back then we were in school, and that's your favorite excuse. Growing up, I was a fool. Girl, I see you. Listen and don't trip. Think I need a bottle
With the genie in it.
Here's my wish. I will create a heart.
Now, what a banger.
I'll take you like you need a
Third one.
And I don't need a lot of wishes, cause I'll be okay if I get one. If I had one wish.
Yo. If anyone don't know that song, that's criminal. It's criminal.
If it is, remove yourself immediately from this video. Okay, so let's get into this because people have been asking me for a while. Nero, can you make a video on karma? Nero, please make a video on karma. Nero, please make a video on karma. Here's your section. Karma does not exist. Now, of course, I want to preface this by saying there's a multitude of definitions of karma, especially as you go down different particular type of philosophies. There's a Zen definition of karma, there's a Taoist definition of karma, but I'm talking about in the typical Hindu tradition of karma that is popularized by mainstream media, which is the idea that good deeds bring good fortune. Now, the truth of the matter is, all it takes is a simple objective look around the world without this particular delusion and denial of the fact that, in fact, there are plenty of absolute degenerates. And I mean absolute degenerates that continue to prosper. Now, the tendency of the mind is to say, yeah, but Nero, they're going to experience their own. Like, eventually they're going to get what's coming to them. Keep deluding yourself, please. Keep deluding yourself. And I say this to kind of shake you up. If I could grab you right now and shake you, imagine me shaking you. Because the truth of the matter is, these individuals aren't going to experience that, and that is okay. But see, you have to take into consideration that most of us have I guess, conceptions on how the universe works stemming from religious traditions, and karma being a Hindu, being of Hindu origin, I need you to understand something. The only thing that exists is cause and effect. In the Hermetic philosophy, stemming from the 4th century, which is the foundation of practically most of the information that we see popularized when it comes to reality creation, cause and effect is all it was. If you go and read the Kabbalion, there's no particular morality in that book. That book isn't saying, be a good person, you get good things, be a bad person, you get bad things, because that's just not the truth of how things work. The only thing that exists is cause and effect. And you see what ended up happening is that karma is a variation of cause and effect. But the reason why karma is insuffice is because karma takes into account morality. But remember the first thing that I said, the universe has no particular degree of morality. It just has it's just mechanical. The universe is immoral, it's mechanical. And that's why karma can't be a universal law. Because you have to understand, most people conceptualize the idea of spiritual shit to be good shit. But no, spirit just means beyond the physical. And beyond the physical means that you have now begun to transcend the concepts and constructs of the physical, one of them being morality. That doesn't look like I said morality, but I can assure you that says morality. But like I said, most people conceptualize the idea of being spiritual to mean good. Hence why anytime niggas say that they're spiritual, they're always like, I'm spiritual. And they just make themselves be nice. I don't give a fuck about any of that. I could actually give a fuck less about how you perceive me, because I'm not here to win you over by playing the spiritual archetype and the spiritual persona, because that's still nothing more than an ego game. It's no different from the righteous religious person. Spiritual niggas are the exact same way, saying they're spiritual and calling themselves Nubian queen and Nubian goddess and, you know, I'm a god and all of this and all of that, but you have nothing to show for it in your reality. Spirituality without the ability to control your reality is vanity. I need you to understand something. Spirituality isn't a reflection of good. Spiritual literally means beyond the physical. Beyond the physical means transcendent of these third dimensional realm concepts and constructs, which include morality. Hence why karma literally doesn't make sense in the popularized way, because the universe doesn't keep score of the good that you do. Unfortunately, it doesn't. I know it feels like it does, but it doesn't. Because the truth of the matter is, if you take an objective look around the world, you know plenty of good people, including yourself, and you still may not be in the desired reality that you want. And there's the particular type of confusion, like, why, I do this, I donate to charity, I help people, I do this, I do that. The universe doesn't give a fuck about that. When it comes to the reality in the world you live in, the only thing it cares about is the energetic equivalent, the vibrational equivalent. Before anything can exist physically, it first has to exist vibrationally. John 3:27, a man can receive nothing unless it's given to him from heaven, heaven being your state of consciousness, on earth as it is in heaven. All reality cares about is you reaching an internal degree, which is my definition of manifestation. Manifestation is internally shifting to a degree to which you're no longer emotionally dependent upon seeing reality change. Not manifestation, how other niggas talk about it as in changing your reality, because that still gets you caught up in the external, which is an illusion. And by getting caught up in the external, you're neglecting the internal, which is perpetuating you to stay exactly the same. Manifestation is entirely an inner game. And in order to understand this inner game, you have to begin to understand how karma doesn't exist. And that is okay. It is okay. That doesn't mean that you're never going to get to where you want to be, because you can get to where you want to be by recognizing you can only go where you already are. And that's a bar, write that down. You can only have what you already have. You can only have what you already have. You can only have what you already have. And this is what cause and effect is. So in order for me to fully explain the concept of cause and effect, we have to start speaking about cause and then effect. Cause is nothing more than the association with the mental plane. 3 planes of existence. Mental, physical, spiritual, mind, body, and soul. God the Son, God the Father, God the Holy Spirit. It's all the same thing said differently. Cause is on the mental plane, which is the association with our frequency, which is the association with our state of consciousness, our self-concept. In order for you to go to a reality, you need to be the energetic equivalent of that reality by coming to the recognition of cultivating that internal state of consciousness and altering your frequency. The effect in of itself is the physical plane. The physical plane is the world that we live in, the 3rd dimensional realm. All that exists is this. What is within will be without. What is within will be without. What is within will be without. It is that simple, and that is as simple as it gets. Now, let me explain the instances of karma to which I'm explaining. Karma suggests that if you punch somebody in the face, you're going to be punched in the face, and it doesn't work like that. Let me take you through the process of how it actually works. Relax, relax, relax. Listen, wipe your mouth, zip up your pants. You're gonna get some, it's all right.
What if I don't want some, Nero?
What if what?
What if I don't want some?
Nah, none of that. As if somebody asked who's AJ, but then I guess if they're new to the channel, they're probably going to be thinking, who is that?
I'm almost like an inside joke.
Yeah.
Only the real ones know.
That's real. But it's crazy because we don't even, it's not even like we hide you.
Sure.
Would you like to come up to the front of the class?
Again.
Come up to the front of the class.
My hair's a mess.
See? That's AJ. See, he's a real person.
Someone mentioned on my channel the other day, they said AJ's actually real. I was like, wow. You still thought I was fake? The profile picture.
Do you know what's so funny about this morality thing? Yo, check this. I don't know if you lot saw this, but over the past couple of days, the rapture.
I knew it.
Yo, the rapture thing was crazy. I had people messaging me like, Nero, like, what about the rapture? Like, what's going on? I'm like, what? What? People sold their belongings. I saw a guy sell his car because of the rapture. Niggas were making rapture videos like, cool, for you sinners that are left on earth after I get caught up into the sky.
That's why you put on your story, just give me your worldly possessions.
Nigga, I said I was going to get a trumpet and start playing trumpets outside someo's crib. And in Revelation, it says that at the end times, you'll hear trumpets. Yo,
you'll get man's heart racing.
But even the concept of the rapture, hey, maybe it did happen, and maybe you niggas are just sinners like the rest of us. You know what's so funny? People are like, damn, it didn't happen. How do you know it didn't happen? What if you just didn't get What if you just didn't get caught up and you're finished? It's over for you. It's really over for you. But once again, it's this idea of spiritual brownie points.
Bro said brownie points.
Real talk.
That's actually how the good place worked, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You got points for being a good person.
Which is subjective. which is completely subjective. Now, to go back to what I was saying, in the example where somebody, let's say, punches somebody in the face, does that mean that they're going to be punched in the face? No. What that means is this, and let me explain what karma is. So, karma doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get a one-to-one cause and effect. What you do to somebody is what will be done onto you. That's not what that means. But the important things to note is the concept known as non-duality. It's the concept that outside of this third dimensional realm, everybody is one consciousness and there's this particular degree of oneness. There is no separation between me, AJ, you, and we're all the same and we're all one and we're all in each other. Now, then at the same time, you have to begin to understand on that concept of non-duality, because what you do to another, it's just somebody else is just nothing more than a altered physical expression of you. They still use the still same consciousness. So if you punch somebody, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be punched. What that means is that you have inflicted harm onto yourself. But see, here's where it begins to get tricky. Oftentimes, you have to begin to understand that when you do something to somebody, that doesn't necessarily mean the same thing is going to be done onto you. What that means is that you now open up the frequency equivalent of whatever that act entailed. And bear in mind, I said opened up. That doesn't mean that you're going to end up experiencing it. For example, if you punch somebody in the face on some bullshit for no reason at all, you've now inflicted harm onto another. The frequency of everything entailed within the act in of itself, which is probably pain, confusion, frustration, anger, violence, you have now opened yourself up to that frequency. Now, does that mean you're going to experience the materialization of that frequency? No. It means you've opened yourself up to it. Because what happens after that is nothing more than cause and effect. When you begin to punch somebody in the face and you go through a violent act, you're probably then still angry. You probably might even feel bad. You might probably feel sad. You probably might feel a bit paranoid now, like da-da-da-da-da. And then without even realizing it, you're beginning to now set a chain of events into reality, not because of the act in of itself, but not because of what happened without, but because of what happened within. And that's a bar, write that down. I need you to understand something. Oftentimes, it's not the snake bite that kills people. When if a snake bites you, that's not what kills you. What kills you is the poison. So it's not necessarily about what happens without, but it's about what happens within. And that is where people get caught up in the context of karma, because you have to begin to understand something in particular. Most moral people, the reason why good people have bad things happen to them is because good people are only good without. They're only good in the realm of the external, but by then it's over. But within, those good people aren't necessarily bad people, but they have a bad frequency. They have a bad state of consciousness. They have a bad self-concept. They have a bad self-image. They have a bad inner dialogue. Because believe it or not, everybody that's a good person is fucking frustrated at the fact that we're good people and we're still not where we want to be. And then that frustration leads to irritation. That irritation leads to self-condemnation. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, what's going on? You've been trying so hard. You need to try harder. You're not doing enough. You're not doing this. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. What makes you think that you can get that? You don't deserve this. You don't deserve that. And without even realizing it, the reason why bad things happen to good people is because good people have bad self-concepts, bad inner dialogues, bad frequencies, bad state of consciousness. And unfortunately, cause and effect. That's the only thing the universe cares about. It's the only thing it cares about. This is why the idea of karma is insufficient, because karma says that it is the external that creates the external. Karma says if you do a good deed, you get a good reality. And that doesn't make any fucking sense at all. It literally makes no sense. The external can't alter the external. An effect can't change an effect. An effect can't change an effect. The only thing that can change an effect is the cause. This is why the idea of karma is insufficient, because people say if you do a good deed, then you get a good reality. That doesn't make any sense, because the only thing that constructs reality isn't anything except your internal state. only the within. By the time that you help that old lady cross the road, by the time you give money to the homeless man, by the time you help somebody out in a time of need, that's a physical act. A physical act isn't going to lead to a physical change. Cause and effect, mental plane, physical plane. You can't alter the physical plane by altering the physical plane. You can't alter an effect by altering an effect. The only thing that you can do to alter an effect is to alter the cause. That's why karma doesn't make any sense. Because karma says, my physical good deed should lead to a good reality. When the only thing that leads to reality, the only thing that leads to an effect is the cause. The only thing that leads to an effect is the cause. That's why karma, it just doesn't make sense. Because guess what? Even when we do good deeds, even when you give money to the homeless person, you then walk away saying, shit, I shouldn't give money to that fucking nigga. Shouldn't give money to that guy. What the fuck was I thinking? He's probably gonna spend it on drugs anyways. Like, even when you do a favor for somebody, in your head, you're like, this person, they don't even appreciate me. They don't even see what I do. They don't even do this. Even when you open the door for somebody and that person doesn't say thank you, you think, fucking asshole. Your internal state is calibrated towards a frequency of negativity, which can only perpetuate a particular reality of negativity. Because remember, before anything can exist physically, it first has to exist vibrationally. Vibrationally is nothing more than the combination of mentally and emotionally. Your mental and emotional equivalent then leads to a frequency, then leads to a reality. And this is what you have to come to a conclusion of. The only thing that's going to put you in the right reality is the right frequency. Nothing more, nothing less. But it gets even further because, like I said, we all know terrible people. It might be your boss. It might be a relative. Shit, it might even be somebody that you know. Somebody that's just a bad person. But they seem to be continuously and perpetually getting what they're going to get. They seem to be getting what they want. So let me explain to you why. Because there's stuff that you need to learn and adopt this stuff. Because I even talk about this in my book, Outsmarting Reality, Amazon bestseller for 20 weeks straight, #1 in all 3 categories. I even talk about this in my book. There's an aspect of reality creation that people don't take into consideration, which is the idea of being able to detach from social contracts. But don't worry, relax, you're gonna get some. Let's get into this, because you're a good person. I know you're a good person, because you still wouldn't be watching this, because a bad person would be like, fuck this. I don't even need...
So true.
You know what I'm saying? Or at least shit, you think you're a good person. You didn't get raptured though, did you?
Nero, your teachings are on a different level.
Thank you.
I'm 24 and I've spent a third of my life deep diving into spirituality and the metaphysical. I was forced to wake up after being at the mercy of my reality. The universe forced my eyes open to the truth, to the infinite possibilities. I've been manifesting a healthy and loving relationship. I applied your teachings of being in my desired reality within, ignoring everything else outside of me since it simply reflects my inner state. I got a breakfast date in a couple of hours with a man. How nice.
Must be nice. I ain't getting taken for breakfast.
You know,
get
like
breakfast.
Breakfast. On a lunchtime.
I don't eat breakfast, yeah.
With a man that is so loving and nurturing. Wow. Someone I can be my true self around and can actually pleasure me. No pause needed. Fairs.
Oh.
Fairs.
Oh.
Fairs.
Oh.
Fairs. I let this be the gateway to my desired reality. Here's to many more victories. She basically said, yo, I just manifested a man.
Don't let him reduce what you just said. All of that.
A loving man that can satisfy me.
Yeah. Heavy on the side. So.
You know, like that.
We got any more comments?
Of course we do, bro. Of course we do. I came for the knowledge, stayed for Nero. Pause. Nero, I know you say eventually you'll start making videos because you'll have told us everything and just do live streams. And I know you say you're not an influencer, you're just here to help us get our desired reality. But I can't lie, you're a big credit to the internet. I'd be sad if you start putting videos out there. When you do start making manifestation videos, it would be cool if you'd consider making other type of metaphysical content or other types of YouTube content in general. I keep telling you, you're never quitting YouTube.
You just started them off.
You're never quitting. If he ever stops this metaphysical stuff, he's making general self-improvement. I'm talking how to be productive. No, seriously, you can't quit YouTube. Like, it's just not on the bingo cards for this whole decade.
Man said it's not on the bingo cards. Fairs.
It's not possible, bro. It's like Dave saying this is his last album. You know what I'm trying to say? You'll be like, what?
Any other comments? Okay.
I just finished reading Outsmarting Reality, and I must
Amazon
say,
bestseller for 20 weeks straight, #1 in all 3 categories.
and I must say, every line is highlight worthy, bar after bar.
Thank you very much.
That's very true. Why do you make me want to set back feminism at least 100 years?
Excuse me?
What?
Excuse me?
What?
Excuse me?
Bro doesn't want credit for that.
I'm not really sure what that means, to be honest.
I'm a bit confused as well.
What did it say?
Let me find it. Where's it gone? Why do you make me want to set feminism back at least 100 years?
It is that damn phone. It is the damn phone. So, here's something that you're going to have to begin to adopt. Now, once again, I have to keep reiterating this because I'm on the internet and people have a tendency to take things out of context. I mean, I don't give a fuck if niggas did that to me because whatever, I really don't care. But anyways, I'm not advocating for you to be a bad person. Be a good person, but also have a good frequency. Be a great person, but also have a great state of consciousness. Be a righteous person, whatever that means, but also have the right frequency. The worst people you know are unapologetic. They don't give a fuck about nothing. They don't care. They don't care. To quote Tywin Lannister, a lion does not concern himself with the opinions of sheep. It's really like that. Because here's the thing. The worst people you know are unapologetic, and because they're unapologetic, they have no guilt for the things that they do, the way that they behave, the way that they conduct themselves. And because they have no guilt, they have no self-condemnation. This self-condemnation has destroyed more people than people are even aware of. Because self-condemnation sets in motion the sequence of events for you to then punish yourself. You begin to debase yourself, critique yourself, hate yourself, all because you're apologetic. Because let me show you the polarity of what begins to take place. This is the right way. Let me put the wrong way in red. Let me put these pens. I've got all these pens in my pocket. What typically happens for the average person, the average good person, quote unquote, is that the average good person is so considerate of everybody else except themselves. And because you're so considerate of everybody else except yourselves, you begin to become apologetic. You begin to become apologetic for even chasing what it is that you fucking want. Does that make any sense? But why do we feel guilty about going after the things we want? For a multitude of reasons unconsciously. For the mere fact that we'll no longer be able to relate to the people around us. The people around us might begin to think differently of us. It would lead to us maybe isolating more time from other people, and those people are going to end up taking it personally. You just want to be a good person. Because guess what? Being a considerate person means that you consider other people. And when you consider other people, you position their frequency above yours. And that's a bar, write that down. And I don't mean this in a sense of you shouldn't do good things for people, of course. But you should never do good things for people at the detriment of yourself. Because unfortunately, by doing things at the detriment of yourself, you end up setting yourself up to then have the universe begin to lower you because you have lowered yourself. Bear in mind, do good things, donate to charity. Please do. That stuff is amazing. And I encourage everybody to do stuff like that. But what you have to take into consideration is that when you're an apologetic individual for the way that you behave or the things that you do, and I solely mean this in the context of going after what it is that you want, seeking to materialize your desired reality, whether that's getting that employment, getting that job, getting that promotion, getting that person, getting a certain amount of money, you have to become unapologetic with those desires. Because the moment you begin to become apologetic with it, then you start to feel guilty for desiring those things. And the moment you begin to feel guilty for desiring something, guilt is a corrosive emotion. It literally eats you from the inside out. Pause. And the thing about guilt is that it begins to set in motion self-punishment. Because self-punishment is what we feel like we need to do in order to rectify the guilt that we're feeling. In order to alleviate the guilt we're feeling, we feel as if we have to punish ourselves because this is what we deserve for the guilt that we're feeling. And without realizing that the universe that you live in is nothing more than a reflection of you. So the moment you begin to punish yourself, you begin to set for the universe to punish you through conditions, people, circumstances, and event, to then punish you. And that leads to disharmony in your reality, because that leads to the world being against you. Because you are against yourself. And the truth of the matter is, being apologetic versus unapologetic, these two are nothing more than polarities. They're polarities, they're energies that exist. And because they're energies that exist, they're entities that exist. In the esoteric, there's a concept known as egregores. Egregore is just an entity. And each energy is an entity. It is an organism that exists on the spiritual plane and has the capability of swaying you mentally and spiritually. So then it has the capability of affecting your reality, because it is the mental realm that is the realm of cause. The spiritual plane is like an oven. It determines the more interconnected you are to the spiritual plane or to the source, whatever that source may be to you, you then have the capability of doing things quicker than others, such as miracles. But to go back to what I was saying, these two particular polarities are entities. And when you're an apologetic person, the moment that you begin to take a step in the direction of what it is that you want, you begin to think, yeah, but what about mom now? What about my kids? What about my friend? What about this person? What about this person? Then you're like, man. Then you begin to set in motion guilt. Then you begin to set in motion self-punishment. Then you begin to set in motion the world being against you. And it doesn't make any fucking sense that this is what good people do. Good people are considerate. And because good people are considerate, they're apologetic. And because they're apologetic, they apologize for going after the things that they want. Because, you don't want that promotion because Sarah also wants that promotion. You don't want that job because someone else needs the job. You don't want to take that good man or girl because, the world's struggling enough as it is with all the lack of good people. You don't want to, make money because somebody doesn't have money. You don't want to take a self from somebody because you don't want to take money from somebody. We begin to become overly considerate and overly apologetic to a point where that we become overly guilty. And then the only way to rectify that particular degree of guilt is by alleviating it, by punishing ourselves, because that's what guilt makes you feel like you need to do. The guiltiest people are the individuals that end up condemning themselves. And because they're the individuals that end up condemning themselves, and I missed something here. Self-condemnation. As following the flow chart above, the moment you begin to feel guilty, you begin to condemn yourself, because through condemning yourself, you feel as if you're bringing yourself to justice. By telling yourself that you're an idiot, and you're this, and you're that, you're this, you're that, what's wrong with you, you're a terrible person, you begin to present the illusion that you're presenting some type of justice without realizing that all you're doing is punishing yourself. And because all you're doing is punishing yourself, you then set in motion for the universe through people, conditions, circumstances, and experience to then begin to punish you. And that leaves the world feeling against you. To go back to the point I was saying up here, being apologetic versus unapologetic. These two things are nothing more than energies. And because they're energies, they're entities. And if you don't have the capability of knowing how to shift from being apologetic to unapologetic, you will continue to make yourself sorry. And that's a bar, write that down. And you'll continue to make yourself sorry by keeping yourself in the same position, or even putting yourself in a worse position, because you feel like you're getting what you deserve. Understanding these two things being polarities, they're both fighting for mental real estate in your head. Now, likely you're over here. I know I want to go into this job, but this job would lead me to having to move away, and my friends, and and this and this and this and this. Like I said, we're overly considerate to a point that we begin to try to do good for others by lowering ourselves, without realizing that by lowering yourself, you're also lowering the potentiality of what somebody can experience from you. By putting others ahead of you, you're putting yourself last. And by putting yourself last, you're not putting yourself in a position to which those people can get the best version of you, because you're slowly progressing yourself or regressing yourself towards the worst version of you. Because through these decisions of being overly considerate, you then end up in your head going through this. Now, like I said, these two things, they're both fighting for your mental real estate. Becoming unapologetic is actually just refusing to feel bad. Now, at first instance, once you begin to move towards the direction of your desired reality, you're going to feel bad. You're going to feel bad. You're going to feel bad. And that's okay, because that bad feeling is nothing more than the apologetic entity feeling bad of the connection between you and it severing, so then it projects that feeling of being bad onto you, so then you associate being unapologetic or moving forward with being something representative of bad, as opposed to the entity feeling terrible and projecting that terribleness onto you, so you associate it with moving forward, so then you never move forward. Once you begin to actually move in the direction towards your desired reality and you start feeling bad because maybe you're not spending as much time with your friends, maybe you're not there as much as you used to be. You're not necessarily being a fucking arsehole. I'm not advocating for arseholes. We don't like arseholes around here. But you begin to move in the direction of your desired reality. You start to move different. You start to do things different. Certain things don't entertain you anymore. Certain things just don't captivate you the way that they do. And then you begin to feel bad, without realizing that it's actually the entity of being apologetic that feels bad. It feels terrible because you're severing that connection and it's projecting that bad and discomfort onto you. So then you associate your own walk towards your desired reality with being representative of a bad thing. And to avoid feeling bad, keep yourself in the same place. You have to be unapologetic.
Someone said they can't even finish the video because I keep rewinding to re-listen. God damn.
That is quite funny.
Hi, Nero and AJ.
Hi.
Hello. I've been watching your videos for a little over a year now, and my life has completely changed. Since then, I've lost 80 pounds.
80 pounds?
That's crazy.
That's like 40 kgs.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Raw.
That's crazy. Congrats. Have
That is
found a
amazing.
have found a place to live and have found a better job since then. However, just yesterday, I visualized my man paying my rent. Today, he offered to pay for over $1,000 in repairs on my car and will be taking me shopping soon. This also happened after watching this video. I'm becoming a master of the game, and it's all because of y'all. Thank you, guys. This is only the beginning.
That's so sweet. That's so sweet.
That's crazy.
So you know what's crazy about this manifestation shit? That nigga's probably thinking to himself, you know, let me just be a good guy and just give my girl some money. All the time, he don't even know. He ain't got a fucking clue in the world, buddy. It's cold. Cold as shit. Whole time he's thinking, let me just be a good guy. You know what I'm saying? Whole time she's like, of course you're
gonna do this.
Of course you're gonna do that. That's dark, man.
Now, people are actually changing their lives out here, bro. It's wild. 80 pounds.
80 pounds is serious. That is a transformation. That's amazing.
For real, man.
Absolutely amazing. You have to become unapologetic. You have to become unapologetic. You have to become unapologetic. I always say the same thing to my clients. Which, by the way, if you're an entrepreneur or an athlete and you feel potential that you haven't yet unleashed and seen, then we can get you those results in the next couple of weeks. Check the link in the, I always say link in the comments, link in the description. Which is funny because some niggas don't even think I work with the people that I work with. It's like,
it's
like
crazy.
Professional athletes and actors. I work with Isaiah John, also Malik Theo. Shout out Malik, who's in Newcastle. He's been going crazy. Ethan Waniri, and then various other entrepreneurs, even influencers that I can't even tell you about just out of respect, what AJ knows anyways.
Bro's out here signing NDAs.
Respect the game. I didn't just use purple, did I?
No, I don't think so. I mainly saw red.
Yeah, I
I
think
don't
so
remember
too.
what else.
Cool. So, the other thing about the worst individuals that you know, and this is something that we see all the time, niggas are entitled. Entitled. Me personally, I hate entitlement. I think it's terrible. I can't stand entitlement. I can't stand entitlement externally, but internally, and that's where they have it. Now, most of these people have it internally and externally in the way that they treat people, but internally, they are entitled to what they desire. It's like, of course, more money. Of course, a healthy partner. Of course, that job. Of course, that promotion. Of course, a certain amount of followers on social media. Of course, more clients, more sales.
Of course, more hoes.
Of course, more hoes. Of course, more tricks. There's a degree of entitlement. And this all actually stems from the ceiling of anything that it is that you're ever going to materialize, which is your self-worth. I don't give a fuck how often you visualize, meditate, do fasting on all of this other shit that you feel like you have to do. Your self-worth is the ceiling of everything that it is that you seek to. Your self-worth is the ceiling of everything that you can materialize in reality. Unfortunately, if your desire is up here and your self-worth is up here and you are up here, every time that you reach for your desired reality, you're going to go down every single time, because that ceiling is your self-worth. Your self-worth is the ceiling of anything that it is that you're going to be able to attain. Because your self-worth is the energetic ceiling of what you know you deserve. Emphasis on know. You see, most people conceptualize their self-worth to be what they believe they deserve. But the thing about belief is that belief is not enough. Belief is only belief because it contains the potentiality for an element of doubt. And because it contains the potentiality for an element of doubt, often that doubt begins to germinate and overtake and then begin to distort your state of consciousness and your frequency. That happens all the time. By the way, don't let doubt take you away from your desired reality. Now, to go back to what I was saying, your self-worth is what you know. And the things you know are the things that you have emotionally experienced. And see, most of the worst people you know that are in their desired realities or extremely successful or in a position that you aspire to be in, they know that they deserve what they have. They know. And they know based upon the fact of emotionally experiencing it. And because they know it from emotionally experiencing it, it's registered into their subconscious mind. Subconscious is also the within. And because it's based upon their subconscious mind, based upon the emotion, it is then in their reality. But see, here's the issue. Most good people, they believe they deserve better. They believe they deserve more money. They believe they deserve a good partner. They believe they deserve that job. They believe they deserve that new car. They believe they deserve that promotion. They believe they deserve more sales. Believe, 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 believe. Believe is not enough. Belief isn't enough because what you're lacking is conviction. You can't convince the degenerates that you see in your desire. You can't convince them that they don't know they deserve this shit. But here's the thing. You think you deserve things based upon you being a good person. No. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Because the discrepancy, the intellectual disconnect is, how the fuck are these people in that reality? How do they deserve this? How does this evil person deserve so much money? How does this person deserve this type of relation? How does this person deserve that promotion? How does this person deserve that position in the company? How? How? And the truth of the matter is, you have to come to the recognition that you're still not understanding it. It's still not, what did Justin Bieber say? It's not clocking. You ain't seen that video? It's like, no. It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business. You haven't seen it? Shout out JB anyways.
Justin Bieber said that.
You ain't seen it?
Nah, bro.
You gotta do better, man. You gotta do better. But anyways, to go back to what I was saying, it's not about what you believe or what you think you deserve. It's about what you know you deserve. And what you know It's conviction. That's power. What you know, that's conviction. And conviction is the basis, one of the most important words to the alteration of your reality. When you know that force, the strength of that frequency, the solidification of that state of consciousness is so powerful that the universe has no choice but to begin to react to you. No choice at all. And knowing can only come from emotional experience, which means that your self-worth also isn't calibrated because you're not entitled. You don't see yourself as entitled. In fact, I remember growing up and going to certain places, you always had this, when you're from the ends, you always have this feeling of being out of place. It's like when you go to a nice place, you're like, you just feel like you're just sorry for my presence. You know what I'm saying? You know, just let me get on by. You're instantly apologetic. You're instantly apologetic. You know, you go to a hotel, someone calls you sir, you're like, no, you don't have to do that. You go to certain places, it just doesn't feel, it just doesn't. Without realizing one thing in particular, that those individuals that are the worst individuals, they're entitled to it. They know that they should be here. They know they should be here. Because guess what? The universe loves when you act like you've been here before. And that's a bar, write that down. Extrapolate that to anything it is that you seek to materialize. You got to act like you've been here before internally. You have to know that where you are is for you. We have this general idea coming from the ends that, you know, certain things aren't for us. You know what I'm saying? Certain experiences aren't for us. Certain restaurants aren't for us. Certain environments aren't for us. And it's that disconnect that then leads to that. It's that internal disconnect that leads to an external disconnect. Because the truth of the matter is you have to become entitled. And entitled is nothing more than matching your self-worth to your desire. And that's a bar, write that down. Your self-worth has to match your desire. But the only way your self-worth can match your desire is if you have emotionally experienced it, because your self-worth is dependent upon what you know is based upon what you have emotionally experienced. So in order for you to increase your self-worth, you have to alter what you have emotionally experienced. How do I change what I emotionally experienced, Nero? Let me show you. Walking on a dream. How can I rain? Talking to myself. Will I see you again? We are always running for the thrill of it, thrill of it. You know what I'm saying? The equipment's upgrading. Told you niggas there'll be signs. The niggas pop out with a Rolex. They pop out with a Rolex or something. For me, it's just a whiteboard, a new whiteboard marker.
New pens too.
New pens. So spoiling myself.
I can't believe Dave's releasing an album.
I can't believe it
I
either.
can't wait.
I can't believe it either. You know, people often say to me, like, Nero, you're not human. Like, the way you're able to synthesize these ideas off the top of your head and whatnot, and the information you know, and the things that you like, you're not human. But Dave is not human.
Dave's built different, bro.
He's not human.
I wonder who's going to be on the album.
I know Thames is going to be on there.
I think Drake will be on there, you know, for...
I don't think so.
Like, yeah, nah, it has to though. Like,
No, I don't think so.
Me and Drake were in a private room reasoning.
And he's always been there when I needed him.
Like, he's got to be on it.
See, I'm the reason why your dream girls will wiggle their asses. Drink wine, but don't finish their glasses. Snap pics, the Bahamas. I ain't in a good drama.
He has to be in it.
That's a disgusting bar.
The thing when Dave is flexing,
They said I have more millions in my bank account than I have blackheads and pimples, and that wouldn't change if a man got acne.
too clear, man.
He said I would have an A in business class if grades got marked in flights and shit.
What song's that?
Xavier and Magneto on Gets' album.
That song went under the radar for me still.
Hard. So, the alteration of what you have emotionally experienced. If you can increase what you have emotionally experienced, you can alter what your subconscious mind deems as your degree of self-worth and what it knows it's entitled to. And when you can do that, then you enter your desired reality easier. So, the only way you can do that is by cultivating an internal emotional experience using your imagination. And the only way you can do that, or the way that I go about getting my clients to do that whenever I work with them, is by getting into a meditative state. That might take 10, 15 fen. Crazy. Fen is crazy.
Fentanyl.
Okay. It might take 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, get into a relaxed meditative state where you just feel as if your muscles are relaxed. Then all you do is visualize somebody that you care about acknowledging the materialization of what it is that you want. And then loop that again and again and again until you feel as if you're beginning to strain yourself. And then when you're beginning to strain yourself, you stop, you get up from your visualization, and then take one simple sentence that you think from the position of the attainment of that desired reality, and then incorporate it into your mind. Now, what are you smiling at?
No, nothing.
You sure?
Yeah, nothing. Tell you after.
This guy's just smiling to himself. Anyways, then you take that with you, a simple sentence after your visualization. You carry it with you throughout the day. A simple sentence that you think upon attaining what it is that you want. So let's say you want to materialize being in a healthy relationship. You probably would think to yourself, I've never been in a healthy relationship like this before. That's something that you think upon being in that reality, that in the combination with your visualization will cultivate a degree of emotional intensity once you see somebody saying, wow, I've never seen you so happy like this. Wow, I've never seen you so in love like this. Or somebody congratulating you on making a certain amount in your business, or somebody congratulating you on getting the promotion or that job. Extrapolate this to whatever it is that you desire. Make it emotional, make it physical. Make those individuals either hug you or something that would bring out more emotion from within you. And then, like I said, number 4 is just a simple sentence throughout the day. Simple one-line sentence that you'd think upon the attainment of that desired reality. So if it's to make X amount of money, you wouldn't be thinking, I want to make X amount of money. You'd be thinking, I knew I'd make X amount of money. That was easy. I knew I'd get that job easy. I knew I'd get that promotion easy, etc., etc., etc. Tour life, traveling every day. Nerves paralyzing when you get to stage. You feel love for an hour and then it gets to fade. Imagine what that does to your mental state. Imagine being a millionaire at tender age. You don't even know whether to spend or save. My mom had to grow up fast.
She expects the same.
I was 20 with a mortgage and a rent to pay. So what's happening? I got gorillas all around me. Allow me. Don't get grabbed in the party or you're lacking it. You'll die for a while like Joffrey Baratheon. Pan.
Wow.
Crazy.
So effortless.
Crazy. Nah, man.
So effortless.
I knew Dave was starting to hurt niggas when he said my left wrist retired. He said my left wrist is 61. My left wrist retired. I was like, raw.
The Americans will be like, who's Dave?
No, you guys need to get to know.
Who's Dave?
If there's one person you guys have to get to know from the UK, it's Dave.
It's Dave.
It's Dave.
It's Dave.
It's Dave. The only individual, one of the few individuals that I feel represent us perfectly.
Someone said, "You're literally the best brother. I'm out here in Zimbabwe, observing every single word, and I'm very proud and happy knowing that you're a Zimbabwean too. You've changed my life for sure."
Thank you very much. There's a absolutely terrible rumor going around that I'm Kenyan. So I saw, I saw.
Not even Jamaicans.
Thank you, by the way, to the girl who made a TikTok about me. Appreciate that. I was in the comments and people were saying, "Oh, I love to see Kenyans win." I was like, whoa, I'm not Kenyan. I'm not Kenyan. I'm Zimbabwean.
Did you comment?
Nah. You know me, I don't really get involved in the mix. Whatever people are saying, I just keep myself to myself. Cool. So, the last thing and final thing is this. The worst people you know, they're arrogant. They're fucking arrogant. What do I mean when I say arrogant? I don't mean this in a particularly unpleasant sense. I mean as though they disregard the collective limitations. So just because somebody else couldn't do it, to them, that doesn't mean they can't do it. Because the thing about arrogance is that you have to have this particular element of having the idea that you can go further than others. Not in a way that demeans others, but in a way that uplifts yourself. And that's a bar that down. You can go further than others. Because the idea of arrogance is the idea that, oh, you think you're this. No, you think I'm this. You just projected that onto me. And in fact, I do think I'm this. But people don't like that. People hate you for believing in themselves because they can't believe in themselves. And that's what borrow that down. People see your particular degree of confidence, your self-assurance and your self-certainty, your conviction and your potentiality as an indication of some particular unpleasant characteristic. And it's not you they're frustrated with. You're reflecting what they don't have the capability of cultivating within themselves. And you need to be able to disregard the collective limitations. Because the truth of the matter is, we begin to inherit the limitations of society. And because we inherit them, we internalize them. And because we bring them internal, they become external. For example, there's this popularized idea that dating in 2025 is in the absolute trenches and it's absolute rubbish. And one might warn a friend of theirs and say, hey, like, nah, you don't wanna go on a date with this girl because all the girls these days are just money digging hoes. Or a girl might say, all men cheat, like don't even focus on men because they all cheat. And then we begin to inherit these limitations, but arrogance is for you to say, not in my world. It sounds fucking cheeky, innit? Because you become out of touch. But you're not out of touch. You're just out of touch with their reality. And this is how those individuals think. They disregard the collective limitations because you can either disregard or inherit them. And if you inherit them, you internalize them. If you internalize them, you bring them into your reality. So you have to have the capability of being the individual to be acceptant of being the anomaly internally. Before anything can exist physically, it first has to exist vibrationally. You can't be the anomaly externally. You can't be the one individual in a healthy relationship in a quote unquote toxic world. By the way, ask somebody to describe the world that they see and they're unconsciously describing themselves. The envious see envy in every single soul. The niggas that are suspicious of everybody, the ones you gotta watch out for. Why are you so suspicious? But that's the thing. You have to have this idea because you have to understand it's that internal aspect of you that has the capability of transcending your third dimensional realm limitations. Frequency defies rationality. Frequency defies rationality. That's my favorite saying that I say because frequency does defy rationality. Because your frequency will make shit that doesn't make sense for you. And we've all seen instances where there are people that they just don't make sense how they're able to do it. And it's because they have the internal degree of conviction that they're already in their desired reality. Remember, you can only have what you already have. Manifestation is internally shifting to a degree to which you're no longer emotionally dependent upon seeing reality change. So with that being said, disregard the collective limitations and, hey, be the worst person so you can manifest easily. This is his best album. Carter 3, best album. Best album. Emily, Lollipop, Mr. Carter. The other one with Wee Wee. I can't draw a guy in a suit. I don't